Let's talk about the polls without talking about the polls. But first this, a new round of polls from Bloomberg News shows Kamala Harris is beating Trump in every major swing state. According to the survey of 5,000 registered voters this week, Harris leads by 2 points in Georgia and North Carolina, 3 points in Michigan, 4 points in Nevada and Pennsylvania, and a whopping 8 points in Wisconsin. The only downer is Arizona, where she's tied with Trump. But even that is suspect because Ruben Gallego, the Democrat running for the Senate seat, he has a 15-point lead over Betty Botox, and the trend there is heading towards Harris. The question is, why and how is Harris doing this in such a short period of time?
Why is he not doing better?
Because he's Trump. I mean, the truth of the matter is...
And the show is over. Britt has dropped the mic.
I mean, when you get down to it, the past 8 to 10 years have been about Donald Trump. Everything's been about Donald Trump. I don't think that the Democrats would have let Joe Biden get as far as he did if the party hadn't been confident that the Republicans were going to nominate Donald Trump again, which the Republicans did. The fact that Biden was doing even as well as he did until the very end is testament to the fact that Donald Trump, he has a very hard, solid base of support, but it never gets above about 40 to 45%, maybe a little more at best. So his weakness is the predicate for our politics going back three elections.
Well, you could say she's strong, decisive, experienced, and more than able to shout down tiny fingers in a debate, or anywhere for that matter, and you'd be right. And of course, the difference between her and Biden in a world of social media and 24/7 coverage, well, it's remarkable. And that's not a knock on Joe, whose political acumen surpasses Donnie any day of the week. Harris exudes confidence and political acumen of her own. Her pick of Walz after the initial who? Well, it looks brilliant now. Walz is a Midwesterner who coached football and is a strong Second Amendment advocate, yet also a caring and well-versed proponent for gun safety and necessary legislative curbs. And honestly, he might be the best vice president choice ever. When Republicans attacked his son for crying at the DNC, he displayed that Midwestern balance of anger and self-restraint.
If it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
But how has Harris managed to swing the American independent to her side so dramatically? Well, it's her, and it's him.
And by the way, Kamala will not be your first female president. She will not be your first female president. It's not the way it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to have a socialist. Look, we're not going to be a socialist nation. We're not going to have a socialist president, especially a female.
Every time independents thought, maybe the devil we know is better than the one we don't, Trump opened his mouth and Harris immediately appeared as the only choice, proving the grass is greener on the other side when the other grass is orange.
We're going to have a crash, and we're going to have a crash like a 1929 crash if she gets in. You saw a gentleman yesterday who got up, one of the top analysts in the world, frankly, and said that if Trump isn't elected, he predicts, and he's predicting you have a stock market crash like 1929.
Harris might be an odd balance of we really like you, but we really hate him. And it kind of makes sense. Most Americans only knew Harris from her gig with Biden, and she did the job, which is partially not getting in the way of the president. But the way she stepped up when Biden stepped down shocked Trump and the entire MAGA party. And their reactions, their cruel and racist reactions, further reveal the depths of Trump's depravity.
And she happens to be really a low IQ individual. She really does. She has a very low IQ.
And what's happening with the polls isn't just at the presidential level. MAGA candidates are getting pasted across the country, most notably in that Arizona race. And it all starts with Trump, with an assist from his redneck VP, who in the last month was pretty creative in finding ways to insult women.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too.
Then they both pissed off veterans, and I mean really pissed off veterans, by using the graves of dead soldiers in Arlington as a prop.
Today, the U.S. Army confirmed that a Trump aide did indeed push an Arlington National Cemetery employee as she tried to enforce the rules, making this the latest gaffe in Donald Trump's long and horrific record of disrespect toward U.S. troops and veterans. That includes saying that John McCain, who spent 5 years in captivity as a POW, was no war hero because, quote, he was captured. Calling Americans who died in wars suckers and losers. minimizing the traumatic brain injuries troops suffered in a missile strike as headaches, and saying that the Medal of Freedom, a civilian award, is much better than the Medal of Honor because service members who receive this top military honor are often gravely wounded or dead.
Should your campaign have put out those videos and photos?
Well, we have a lot of people. You know, we have people, TikTok people. You know, we're leading the internet. That was the other thing. We're so far above her on the internet.
But on that hallowed ground, should they have put out the images of those?
I don't know what the rules and regulations are. I don't know who did it. And it could have been them. It could have been the parents. It could have been somebody.
It was your campaign's TikTok, though, that put out the video.
I really don't know anything about it. All I do is I stood there and I said, if you'd like to have a picture, we can have a picture. If somebody did it, this was a setup by the people in the administration that, oh, Trump is coming to Arlington. That looks so bad for us.
Wait. Trump is now saying that his campaign's photo op was a setup?
And now Trump is trying to flip-flop on abortion, saying he's pro-choice, but let the states decide.
But if you look at what we've done with Roe v. Wade, we did something that everyone said couldn't be done, and we got it done. And I give great credit to the Supreme Court and the justices for having the courage to do it.
But people aren't stupid. They heard Trump brag about killing Roe and also saw states like Texas propose executing women who elect to have the procedure. But mostly, I think Americans, even Republicans, are tired of Trump's lies about winning the 2020 election. Independents especially are pissed. Even the RNC co-chairs had enough with Trump's.
We want to make sure that we have volunteers and attorneys that are there anytime votes are being cast or counted.
Should people trust that their vote is going to be counted fairly in California?
Yeah, and that's why we want to be here. And the thing about California law is it does allow anybody who is interested in serving in that capacity to go serve in that capacity, which I think is really good.
Whatley's comments just days after Dr. Phil aired this interview with former President Trump.
If Jesus came down and was the vote counter, I would win California, okay? In other words, if we had an honest vote counter.
What does that mean?
Well, I think that he feels like California, there are a lot of Republicans and there are a lot of votes here. I think he was probably, a little bit of a stretch.
Trump lost here by close to 5 million votes. Do you have evidence that he actually won this state, that there were 5 million more people that voted for him that weren't counted?
No.
So that claim about Jesus is...
We'll see. And the president can tell stories at any time.
Kamala Harris may be one of those right place, right time candidates with just the right qualities to make someone like Donnie Man-Boobs lose whatever is left of his declining cognitive state. But she's also a woman, which perplexes the Leave It to Beaver GOP.
Well, whenever we cook inside, Mom always does the cooking. But whenever we cook outside, you always do it. How come?
Well, it's sort of traditional, I guess. They say a woman's place is in the home, and I suppose as long as she's in the home, she might as well be in the kitchen.
And especially the vapid talking heads at Fox.
Now, I don't see why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man and then vote for a woman just because she's a woman is either childish, that person has mommy issues, or they're just trying to be accepted by other women. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
And of course, her ethnicity has been attacked by Trump.
Only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Which was stupid beyond words. In a nation where close to 40% of Americans, that's 150 million people, have mixed racial backgrounds of some sort, from black to Hispanic to Asian, well, they're tired of hearing this shit they've heard all their lives. And they don't want to hear it from this racist puddle of spunk. No, the ascent of Kamala Harris is like most things, complicated and yet amazingly obvious. At the risk of sounding Pollyannish, people are tired. They don't want this anymore.
I grew up in the church. Character and morals and values are big to me and my family. The hardest thing to watch in the last 4 or 5 years with all of this has been the evangelical Christians sell out to this false prophet.
Yes, the polls are simply numbers, which, as we saw in 2016, can change dramatically. To that point, Harris and the Democrats, while Trump keeps his foot in his mouth, keep your foot on the gas. But if I may say, as a favor to me and a couple 100 million other people, please save one foot for Trump's ass.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Damn right.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Who's with me? Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.